I hated myself. I looked in the mirror and it reflected someone who was undisciplined. Someone who knew they had potential inside of them, but it reflected that they were settling for less every single day. I couldn't take my shirt off without feeling embarrassed, and this is why it mattered to me. Your body is a direct reflection of how true you stay to yourself and how true you stay to your words, even when the tough times come. And mine, quite honestly, reflected the opposite. This is how I fixed it.
And honestly, I used to be like most guys in the gym, showing up consistently and not getting the results I wanted. I remember back in my junior year and I believe sophomore year of my high school. I don't know if you guys remember this Planet Fitness. I don't know if they still have it, but summer free membership for teens. I tried to go to the gym. I got the memberships both summers. I went there and quit after like maybe 2 months, and I was just stuck spinning my wheels, sitting there wondering why was nothing working for me. And after consistently trying both of those summers and failing miserably, I felt so embarrassed that I just canceled my gym membership and I swore I would never go back again because I was embarrassed and how much I put in and how little I got. Then I decided to face the harsh truth, take some responsibility as a man, and why I was not making any type of progress in my life. And I'm here to break down what took me years to figure out, literally years, in one video. And this is the video I wish I had when I was sitting there spinning my wheels, feeling so embarrassed that I couldn't make any progress. I'm going to break it down in this video so you can implement it into your own fitness journey. And in case you don't know me, my name is Jonathan Marcos, and this is my story. 1.5 years ago, I lost myself. I hit rock bottom. I had $0 to my name, and I was failing my classes in my first year of college. I was so out of shape and so insecure and depressed that I wouldn't even go out. And all of this led to zero respect for myself and other people around me. I remember back in winter quarter last year where most out of shape I ever been, and people used to call me fat, and I used to get offended. I was like, why are you calling me fat? And then I look in the mirror and I am fat. Who is this for? If you know you don't fit in with the general population, you don't want to lead a mediocre life, you don't want to lead an average life, and you know you are meant for more and you're not trying to get by every single day, this is for you. If your mind is set at becoming the best possible version of yourself and achieving the ideal version of yourself, but your results and actions don't really follow, this is for you. If you're stuck and struggling with low energy, low testosterone, skinny fat phase, and you don't know whether you should bulk or cut or recomp, this is for you. And if you are busy and you have a lot of responsibilities on your plates and you don't have time just like these fitness influencers do, and you want to get in the best shape of your life and you want the blueprint from someone just like yourself who has it worked out, this is for you. Alright, who this is not for. If you're not ready to give up being mediocre and doing average people stuff and normal people stuff to becoming the best version of yourself, this is not for you. If you're comfortable being comfortable and you're not willing to get uncomfortable until you get to a new, better stage in your life and you're not willing to burn the bridge to get there, this is not for you. If you're not ready to make massive actions and willing to make massive sacrifices to make massive outcomes and massive changes in your life, this is not for you. Now, here's the truth. You don't need perfect genetics. You don't need to cut out any carbs. You don't need 2 hours of cardio to get lean. Deadass used to believe that. I used to look in the mirror and tell myself, oh, I will never get in shape or get as lean as these people online because I don't have the perfect genetics. I always thought life was unfair. If somebody was jacked, they were always meant to be there. If somebody was rich, they were always meant to be there. I used to think life was predetermined and you can never change your course, but that's not the case. You can make great change with the circumstance and the cards you're dealt with. I used to always think I was busy and couldn't make time for anything that's right in my life. But here's the truth. You don't have any genetics problem. You don't have any time problem. You're not busy. What you have is a system problem. As soon as I stopped complaining and actually analyzed my life, I started playing with the cards I was dealt with. I sat down, took accountability, and I realized what it took to get there. Raised my standards, destroyed the skinny fat bum that I used to be, and I adopted a new identity. Don't worry, I will never let you get stuck. If you want to become that guy, if you want to become that nigga, I got you. What I understood over the years of just trial and error, you will never get in the best physical shape of your life if your mind is out of shape. I had a problem realizing this. That's why I spent 2 years of my life just quitting and never actually making any progress in my life. And once I realized that, once that clicked into my mind, I started making so much progress. It was crazy. I used to have ordinary thoughts. Oh, I can't do this, or I have terrible genetics, or I don't have time, this and that, this and that. That led to ordinary actions, which led to average outcome. I was skinny fat. I was a bum. I was insecure. I was depressed, and I hated the way I was living life. Then I changed the way I think about things. I love this quote by Steve Harvey: if you put extra on top of ordinary, you become extraordinary. So what did I do? I started having extraordinary thoughts, which led to extraordinary actions, which led to extraordinary outcomes. And the identity first physique system is the system I built through trial and error over the years. It took me from weak-minded, a bum, overweight, insecure, depressed, and with no purpose, to somebody who's disciplined, 1% lean physique, confident, and purposeful in life. You cannot build a great physique with a broken mindset. You cannot build a skyscraper with a broken foundation. So if you cannot address the root cause of everything, you cannot get in the best physical shape of your life. And to fix your mindset, you first fix your environment, whether that be your digital environment or physical environment. Your environment influences your actions more than you think. Then you shift your identity, because when your identity shifts, your actions align, and discipline just becomes second nature. It's not even going to be hard to do the hard things. You execute daily, even when things get hard. Those days count the most. And this is where a lot of people fail. That everything follows. Your body, your life, everything just align. Now I've decided to break it all down for you in this video, and took myself from average and mediocre to 1% lean physique. This exact system will allow you to do what takes others years in just 180 days. And I compiled it into 4 core pillars. First pillar is going to be your environment. Your environment influences you more than you think. Your environment shapes your identity, and your identity shapes the actions you take. And if you take average actions, you're going to have average outcomes. Then the next pillar is going to be your identity shifts, how you can go from somebody who doesn't to somebody who does. Pillar 3 is going to be execution and non-negotiables. You need to set standards for yourself that you do not break no matter what. You have to have non-negotiables that you live by every single day. Pillar 4 is going to compound everything we learned so far into building a badass physique, a 1% lean physique. Your body is a direct reflection that you stay true to yourself, and you are staying disciplined even when times get hard. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to break down each steps for the identity first physique, which will allow you to make years of progress in just 180 days. If you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and you want to actually make progress with your life, and you want to be proud of who you are becoming, listen up. First pillar is going to be your environment. Your environment is a direct reflection of your standards and the values you hold for yourself. Your environment either builds you or breaks you. You need to cut dead weight off. I used to struggle with this. I used to hang around with people who drank, smoked, partied, had no intention of having a purposeful life, and they were okay with living an average and mediocre life. And guess what that led to my life? An average and mediocre life. And you're not cutting people off because you hate them. You're cutting people off because you have a standard that you want to live by, and that standard is higher than living a mediocre life and an average life. And you have to rebuild your environment. Any distractions, whether that be in real life or digital, Instagram, TikTok, you have to change your feed or delete those apps if they're not feeding into the ideal version of yourself. You have to delete and eliminate anything that's going to take you off course. And you have to stop being a people's pleaser. I used to deal with that. I used to say yes to everything. Let's go out, let's do this, let's do that. And I used to say yes because I was uncomfortable with sitting by myself alone when it came time to build, when it came time to go after my business, to go after my body, to build the life I want to live. And once I started saying no and having standards for myself, my life changed forever. When you have non-negotiables and standards that you set for yourself and you stick to them every single day, this creates a feedback loop unconsciously that you are staying true to yourself, and builds discipline, and makes it so much easier. Because discipline at the end of the day is not a personality trait, it's something that you discover. You have to be able to design your life to make the right actions easy and the wrong ones hard. If you're hanging out with people who are okay with being mediocre, smoke, drink, go out every weekend, and don't want to build anything in their life, what do you think that happens? You conform to the conditioning that you are setting yourself up every single day, and you stay true to your goals. Taking the right action just becomes easy. It just becomes secondhand nature. It doesn't even have to be forced. It actually becomes hard not to do the right things. You are not weak. It's not a game of willpower or discipline. You're just exposing yourself constantly to the wrong environment, and that just leads to wrong actions. If you fix your environment, the right actions will just become seamless. Second pillar, identity shift. Your identity is core for everything and shapes how you process information and interpret it in your brain. That determines what type of actions you take. Transformation never happened overnight. You gotta stay uncomfortable in the middle ground where you're no longer your old self, but you're not the new version and the ideal version of yourself. You're in this middle trap where you're still tagging between both parties, and it's important to stay in the middle ground in order to make any progress in your life. And that's where most people fail. They get uncomfortable, but they don't understand and signal to their brain that uncomfortableness means you're actually detaching from the old version of yourself and you're entering a new and ideal version of yourself. And for this to make sense, you have to understand these three pillars. Point one is going to be the old version of yourself, where you're insecure, overweight, you have all these bad habits, you're maybe broke and making excuses all around your life. And point B is going to be the middle ground, where you're no longer the old version of you. You are working toward being an ideal version of you in point C, but you don't see the progress yet. So you're in an uncomfortable state where you want to go back to point A, where things are a lot more predictable and a lot more comfortable. Point C is going to be the new you, the improved and disciplined version of yourself. You'll never get to point C from point A unless you live in point B. We need to understand point B. Most people bounce between point A and point B because in point A, things are a lot more predictable. You have the old habits that give you instant dopamine and instant novelty. You have comfort foods, all the shows you can binge watch. Those don't take effort to do. Building a physique, a business, all of that things, they take effort. They make you uncomfortable, but you need to go through them in order to get to point C, where you're this new and improved version of yourself. You need to understand growth is uncomfortable. When things get hard, it's proof that you're actually making change toward something good. I want this to click in your head. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's not something that you are born with. It's something that you discover. It is a decision that you make every single day and staying true to yourself even when times get tough. Pillar 3, execution and non-negotiables. Great men are not born, they are made. They come from daily non-negotiables they refuse to break even when times get tough. In order to build anything in your life and to make any type of transformation, you need to be able to stick to non-negotiables every single day. You need to be able to track everything, your sleep, your workout, food, steps. This would allow you to collect data and feedback so you can do trial and error. That's how you make any type of progress. You fail at something, you learn from your mistakes, and then you do better iterations later. Saying no to anything that takes away from your focus, whether that be weak friendships, smoking, drinking, partying, saying no to them because they don't build into a life that you want to live. Plan your weeks and days ahead so you can stay on top of things. The trick I've been using is having a conversation with my current self, the higher and ideal version of myself, and consulting with them. The action doesn't lead to the higher version of myself. I just don't do it because it doesn't lead to a good life. You got to understand, if you keep breaking these non-negotiables every single time, you're going to rewire your brain to shift your identity into someone worse, and your actions are just going to follow. It's going to create a guilt and a shame loop, and it's going to be really hard to get out of. And the problem I see with a lot of people nowadays is just half-assing something and then expecting the full result. Because if you're tracking half the foods, if you are doing half the workouts, if you're barely sleeping, if you're going out every weekend after tracking Monday to Friday, you will not make any progress because you are half-assing something. You're not giving your full potential. And goals without plans are just dreams. They're gonna stay dreams if you don't execute on them every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Pillar 4, building the physique, the 1% physique. Your body is a proof that you stay true to yourself. You build a badass 1% physique by training right, daily nutrition dialed in, and your recovery dialed in. So let's go over all of these. How do you train with purpose? How do you train with purpose? To build muscle, you need to be able to do something called progressive load over time, whether that be adding a new weight or a new rep. So getting better at a certain movement, let's say bicep curls. So if you're doing 25 pounds this week for like 5, you need to be able to progressively overload. So next week or 2 weeks after, you need to be able to do at least 1 more rep, 2 more reps, go up a weight. So you need to be able to do 30 pounds or 27.5 pounds for 5, for example. That's what builds muscle. You need to be able to pick a split that lets you hit each and every single muscle group 2 times or 3 times a week, whether that be upper, lower, full body every other day, PPL, upper, lower, whatever it is. If it fits your schedule and you like the structure, pick one as long as it hits all your muscle groups 2 to 3 times every single week with enough volume every single week so you can be able to recover from and progress and not regress. And you need to stop jumping from split to split. I've seen many times where people go on a cut from a bulk and then they ask me, should I go on a different split? Should I lower my volume? No. Your gym performance is going to be the highest indicator that you're actually keeping muscle. If you're not getting stronger or keeping your strength on a cut, for example, you are not building muscle, because strength is a correlation to how much muscle mass you have. Second is going to be your nutrition, your daily nutrition. This is very simple. You need to get 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day. So if you're an individual who is 180 pounds, you need to be at least getting 144 grams of protein every single day to preserve and build muscle mass. 0.3 to 0.4 grams of fat per pound of body weight. This will help you stabilize your hormones and get healthy hormone productions like testosterone. Ooh, everybody's favorite word, testosterone. The rest of your calories and carbs. And I would time my carbs where it's fast digestive carbs like rice cakes and stuff before the gym so it can fuel my performance, because muscle growth is occurred in the gym where it's under high intensity training, and the rest of the complex carbs throughout the day to stabilize your energy. And you need to be able to track everything to the actual grams so you can be making as much progress as possible. There's no yo-yo dieting, no keto, no veggie, none of that fancy stuff. If you track your calories to the precise grams, you'll make so much more progress than if you're choosing all these fancy ass diet hacks. Recovery is pretty simple, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're doing all of the first two steps but you're not actually recovering properly, you will never build any muscle, because the stimulus happens in the gym. Your food gives you enough nutrition to build the muscle, and then the actual process happens when you're sleeping. So if you're not having adequate sleep, you are wasting all of your time. Having 10 to 15k steps every single day to stay lean or get leaner is vital, because it just raises your daily expenditure by a little bit, so it means you can enjoy a little bit more food while staying lean or getting lean. The 1% physique is built and earned at B, where you're not really seeing the results to get to C yet, but you don't want to go back to the point A where you used to be a skinny fat bum, and don't let that be you. Identity first physique system is designed to help you build the 1% physique that you're striving after by conquering the little bitch in your mind and by conquering the environment, whether that be digital or reality. My transformation is literally a proof that this system works. Going from a skinny fat bum and overweight who was insecure and stuck in all these terrible habits to a 1% physique and a mindset that completely built my life around. That you understand the whole process and you have all the clarity that you need. You have two options. Option one, take it as you will, what you learn from this video, try it on your own. However, you're gonna get hyped, you're gonna get all the dopamine hit you want from this video, you're gonna get just little clarity for 2 weeks, and then life hits, and then you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to start Monday, oh, I'm going to do this and do that. You make all these excuses, and 3 months later, guess what? You're still the same person. You still haven't changed. You're still the old version of you. You're still stuck in point A, and you're right back where you started. Or you can do option two, lock in with me on one-on-one coaching and guarantee results using the identity first physique system, and I'll show you how. And I have an offer for you. If you're tired of being this insecure skinny fat bum staring back at you in the mirror who you're not proud of, and you know you aren't meant for more, and you want to change something in your life, you are busy and are serious about making change in your life, but you don't know where to start, or you're stuck spinning your wheels, and you want to build a 1% physique that turns heads, that make people shocked, that ask you, oh, can you actually eat this? Is this good for you? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? It makes people curious. You want to destroy the old version of you, and you want to enter this new ideal version of you. You want to stop wasting your time months after months, and you're just spinning your wheels over and over again. You want to prove to yourself and everybody else that you are meant for more. And if you want to build a 1% physique and a badass physique and lock in the identity to stay that way and build that body, I'm going to leave a type form down below in the description where you can apply to work with me one-on-one, where I help skinny fat men just like you gain discipline and build the confidence they always knew they had in themselves. And with my one-on-one coaching, I take 5 action takers each month and give them a $1,000 discount on the coaching program. So if you want to lock in a spot, be an action taker, fill out the type form right now so I can reach out personally and see if we can be a great fit together. Once again, this is for men who are tired of living the same life every single day. They are tired of being mediocre, and they want to make some serious change in their lives. And if you're tired of spinning your wheels every single month and you want to fix your body, your mind, and actually become the guy that you know you are capable and meant to be, and if this resonates with you, it's because you're an action taker. Because change happens when you change your behavior, when you change your actions, and filling out that form might be the action that you did not know you needed before.